What's next?
What do you mean?
What are we doing next?
We wanted to make a video tonight and talk about this, the idea of a change,
Yeah, I think I'm ready for a
a
change.
change of life. Yeah, we're both, you know, ready for a change, which is dumb because we're doing well, right?
Yeah, life is good. I mean, we have a great time doing our homeschooling and
Good job
great
and
yard for
good
gardening.
yard. We have a nice house, not fancy, but it's nice.
Yeah,
And everything is kind of working
yeah.
in our lives. And so the
So
idea of
if it's
making a
working,
change
then
is weird.
why?
But we've kind of done all the things you're supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
You get married, you have kids, you get a house, you get a job, you do.
But once you get the job, once you've done all the rest, okay, when you're having the next kid, the next kid, the next kid, okay, now 6 kids later,
We're still
we're
here.
stable career. You've
Yeah,
had
it's
the career for
fine.
20
It's
years.
good. It's a good job.
The kids are grown. A couple of them graduated. We're all great. But it's like we've done the next thing. So the next thing is to like wait it out until you retire and then you die.
Yeah,
Right?
it's not.
Isn't that the next thing?
Well, it is. And we're like, we could just, you're supposed to, I think you're supposed to just, okay, we finally make enough money to start saving for retirement. Okay, cool. That's really boring. And I learned from myself a few years back working on a house project that I loved working on a house when someone was going to move into it and I was going to keep it as a rental and I was going to get to see that
Yeah.
happen. And then we got some houses and we just bought them for the purpose of flipping them. And we made good money, but I don't barely remember it. And I think what I
And you
learned
didn't
was I didn't care about the
yeah,
money.
you didn't invest yourself in it
No,
when you thought you were going to rent it to somebody and you would know the family and
right.
kind of invested yourself. But when it was a flip,
Yeah.
you just got money out of it. You didn't
I'm
get that
just,
relationship because you're relationship oriented
I
is
am.
really what
That's
you are.
probably it.
Yeah, I think that's true. I'm more comfortable introverted and by myself but you're definitely you crave that relationship with people and I think that's why you liked that part of the business is that you got to rent it to somebody, you got to see them enjoy the house. The fruits of your labor got
Yeah,
enjoyed by someone. Even though it still did when you sold the house, you weren't invested in it because you didn't see that, I think.
right.
Yeah.
So we're just not happy sitting here and waiting to die.
Yeah.
And that's why we're talking about a change.
Well, in a little bit, you remember when I came back, I went to London last year with
Right.
Megan and kind of fell in love with travel. I never wanted to travel before.
You're scared.
I was scared. Yeah, I hate to fly. Um, but I made the leap and I took her because it was something she'd always wanted to do. Took her for graduation last year and I had a blast. And I remember coming back from that trip and wanting to keep going. Wanted to go back to France because we had gone over to France and I absolutely loved it there. I wanted to go back and I wanted to see things I'd never seen. I wanted to learn things I'd never learned. And I kind of got this fire for like travel. Like I wanted to go do new things. And I think that kind of sparked in me the whole I want to do something different than just sit here in suburbia, you know?
Exactly. And
I think
so
that was a big deal for
you
me.
got to be outside of your comfort zone
Yeah.
and the level of fear went down.
And I survived.
You
And I
survived.
enjoyed it. Yeah.
And so we've done a few things that we've survived and we've come through some interesting life situations of late, which may talk about later. Um, and we're ready to take the next step. The trouble is we have to decide. And the decision is the hard part because things here are pretty good.
Right. How do you decide to change your life when everything's going well?
Right.
I mean, usually people go into a crisis and then they need to change something because of the crisis. And
Right.
we kind of have come out of some crisis and now everything's stable and good and we're all awesome.
Right.
And now we're like, change it.
But why?
So why? What are we doing this for?
We want to do some bigger dreams
Yeah.
and seek out some bigger things.
Yeah.
And one of the dreams is to be on some land that's our land.
Yeah.
We live in a really cute neighborhood now. Neighbors seem to get closer every day. But
it's true. Like, I don't know. We're in the backyard and I'm like in the sandbox with Rachel, and all of a sudden somebody's talking right behind my head, and I'm like, where did they come from?
Right. So we want a little more space.
Yeah.
I've always had a dream of building my own home. I don't know if that's going to happen, but it's on the list.
Yeah.
It's on the list. But we don't know if we should do it because we've been in this spot where I was raised kind of without much money, and the idea of being comfortable financially is really appealing, and it's worked well, and we feel comfortable.
And I grew up with more than he had. I was comfortable middle class, and I had a lot of things, so I like living that life where I have a lot of things. Just because that's what I was used to.
So we're talking
we have
about
a lot of things.
Going to a life where we have less money and less things.
Probably less things, yeah.
And that's a scary thought.
Yeah.
So we had tried a few years ago to move out onto the land, but we didn't really leave the city. I kept my job. It didn't work. We came back to the town. It was no good. And
there was a lot of things wrong with the property, and there was a lot of things wrong with just, where we were at in life. But yeah, I think it was because we didn't want to give up city life. We just wanted a little more space.
I wanted to keep the paycheck. And so it didn't make sense to me to leave the paycheck. But now we're at a spot where we think, if we do our math right, we can live a while with no income and start to build up a property and a piece of land that can generate income in one way or other.
Yeah.
And part of I don't like to use the word midlife crisis because I'm 43. I'd have to live to 86 to be my
I hope
midlife
to live that
crisis.
Long,
but it's not a midlife crisis, but we're looking for a change. And I thought about going into starting my own business, leaving work, starting a home business. And the thing that struck me was doing home inspections. But that's really,
you're good at that.
It doesn't jive with travel.
It doesn't jive with travel at all. And even with homesteading, you just really would have to be on the property a lot to be doing the homesteading stuff. So.
And I'd rather build a life that could generate income outside of working for somebody else. And I'd rather build a life where my family could be a part of that business, whatever that business is.
And we could be a part of home inspection. The boys could learn that. But I think the other thing that you've talked about is really wanting to build something. Yeah. You want to build stuff with your hands, not just, we talk about wanting to build a legacy for our family and a legacy for the children, but it boils down to you kind of just want to build stuff with your hands too.
I love to build stuff. There's nothing more inspiring to me than just either taking something that needs redemption, like a beat up house or a machine that doesn't work, or just some raw material, and produce something that's useful and valuable and productive. And I'm kind of an inventor at heart, and I want to have more time to do that. I want to build something. It doesn't have to be a house, but if we find a piece of land that doesn't have a house, then it might be a house.
Probably will build us a house. At the very least, if it does have a house, hopefully you'll be able to build a barn, a shed, a chicken coop, and maybe a lot of other things. We'll see.
I dream about having a wood mill, a sawmill.
Yeah.
And I watch so many videos online of people sawing boards. It's embarrassing. But that's on my list. I want to do that. And I'd like to mill my own timber. We watch a lot of YouTube, and there's so many people doing so many interesting things. It causes you to be a little discontent when you see how much fun
other people are having,
stuff. But it's going to be hard too when you see that to some degree.
And I'm trying to make sure we're realistic. Like, if we do something different, like I want chickens and maybe a goat or something, I'd love to have that little homestead and be able to do those things you can't do in the suburbs, And I think it's going to be really hard though. And I hope that we're trying to be realistic.
We've talked a lot about making a decision, but when we really think about it, it's as if we've already made the decision and we're trying to decide all the reasons not to do it, right?
When you have to tell your parents, hey, guess what I'm going to do? Sell everything, move to the middle of nowhere.
Be unemployed.
How how do you say that to them? Because then you know all the things they're going to say to you.
Yeah,
So
'cause
we're
you've
kind of
already got
trying
them
to
in your head.
defend all those things.
Yeah, I guess that's
Like-
it. We're defending to ourselves the reason not to do this thing. It sounds so interesting and exciting, but it's a major life change, and it's scary.
And other people are going to look at us like we're crazy
Yeah.
if we do something like this. Like,
But I want to do it.
how do we?
I just have to
Make
work
that
the
leap.
numbers. We just have to figure out how do we not starve in the first 3 years.
Right.
That should be
Right.
my bumper sticker. Trying not to starve in the first 3 years. Most home businesses don't turn a profit for like 5 years, and
Yeah.
many don't ever turn a profit. And I think that's because people have this confusion about how it's good to lose money while running a business, and that doesn't, for tax reasons.
Oh, right. Of course.
No, still good to make money. I've paid a lot of taxes due to having made
Having
a lot
made
of money.
a lot of money.
Still works out.
Yeah, that's interesting.
What are you afraid of?
Oh gosh, I'm afraid of not being able to buy stuff because I kind of like my stuff, um, but I also I'm kind of actually the last couple months. Remember, I've kind of been craving kind of more minimalist. Like simplifying it. I've weeded out even already, even not even thinking about any other life change, but just kind of trying to simplify and
Cleaning up.
decide: do we really need this? Do I love this? Do I use it? Same with the kids stuff, just feeling like we have a lot of clutter. So I've already kind of been in that mindset, but I'm kind of afraid of, we finally made it to a place in our life where if I want something, I can just go get it. And I don't have to worry about whether I buy organic strawberries or not organic strawberries. I can go ahead and splurge on the organic for 50 cents more, and I don't have to worry about that stuff. And so I'm a little worried about having to worry about it again.
Right. That makes sense.
I like that the kids need new socks and I don't have to ask like, okay, is there enough money for new socks? Like I can just get it. And so that's a worry for me.
And that's the comfort. And I think that's
Yeah.
When you get that comfortable, you start to be wasteful.
I agree. Oh, I've been so wasteful because I can just buy whatever I want on Amazon. Click, click, click.
That's the nature of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of stuff that we didn't need. I always think I need it, like, oh, this really cool new kitchen gadget, or, a new skirt, or a pair of sandals, or whatever. And I know it's not necessary.
Part of the pattern I want to get out of is just leaving for work, coming home, leaving for work, coming home, quick dinner, quick time with kids.
And then right to bed. And then
you do that 5 days a week, Sabbath on Saturday, work really hard around the house on Sunday, and then do it again.
Yeah.
And then the next week you do it again. And I look up and it's
like months have gone by.
And there's not much to show for it. Now, if you're into financial stuff, you can watch your 401k and you can look at the return I got on the whatever, and they send you letters.
That's fun.
No, it's so boring. But it's there and it's real. It's real money. It's just I don't get to really use it till I'm dead, and that's not interesting
not fun
to me.
Or interesting.
Yeah. So if you think about it, like we are building something in that we're building home equity, and we're building interest on savings and things like that, but it's not inspiring. I want to build something that inspires me. I want to get out of this 9 to 5, 5 days a week pattern. I kind of want to challenge. I kind of look forward to the surprises and the unknowns. And
so that's a little bit what scares me too, like things that are unknown. Like I don't know what it's going to be like to live. I mean, I know a little bit when we moved out east here a little bit a few years back, there's a lot of bugs, and I know I don't love bugs. So even though I'm like trying to gear myself up for bugs and dirt and things like that, it's like I'm a little afraid of that unknown. Like, will I be able to handle it? What will it actually be like? Especially if we get to a place that doesn't have a house, or we decide to build our own house, how long does that take? And look, I've read Little House on the Prairie. It is hard to put up your own house. And
they just straight up die sometimes.
You just straight up die sometimes out on the prairie. So I'm not, the unknown part is a little scary for me. Do
you remember when she goes to push the cow and it's a bear? in the dark.
Yes.
She goes out to move the cow, and it's actually a black bear.
See,
Don't
I'm
do
scared
that.
of the bears. I mean, oh my goodness.
Bears are real.
Bears are real. What are we going to do if there's a bear? Oh.
Okay. So stay with us. We're going to be talking about this a little bit more and see where we end up.
See if we can make a decision.
There's a
We can
lot
take a jump.
to decide. Take the leap or not.
Yeah.
To be continued.